cursed by the old gods of Bethany. We are 5 immortals doomed to walk the earth until we complete our 1001 tasks. After centuries of dicking around, we are ready to complete our destiny and die. We are, for now, the Immortals. This is episode 48.
Woo!
Woo!
God,
Not a prime
48.
48's a good number. It's 6 times 8. It was another part of times
Yeah.
table I had
Yep.
trouble with as a child.
That means it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times
That
3.
is way too soft for the
That's a
microphone.
lot. Do you get it? Okay. Hi.
God. Why the numbers?
No,
What
because
numbers
if
are
it's
great?
6 times 8, then that means it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. It's a lot of 2s.
I cannot imagine anyone cares at all.
I
about
don't. I disagree.
We're lucky
I
that
care
we
very much.
track these things
Thanks.
by ultimate downloads, not by, oh, they stopped listening after 2 minutes.
that.
It's
Yeah.
my content stream.
Anywho, I'm Austin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
And we are the Immortals. Every week, we review one of the 1001 movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows that you must consume before you die. Every week, Adam is possessed by an intern of those aforementioned old gods from that intro, and that guy gives us what number we're going to do from all those books. Also, lately, he's been giving us super ominous messages. He's been counting down to our 50th episode.
It's fine.
That seems really bad.
It's fine.
We, of course,
We can't die.
have taken the response to do nothing to those threats.
Nah.
Except for to continue doing what we do best. Blabber about numbers for about 45 seconds, introducing ourselves, and saying what we're reviewing this week.
Oh, yeah.
Because this week we're reviewing the 742nd entry in all those books. And the movie this week is Down by Law.
The album is In Utero by Nirvana.
The food is Mochi Gome Su, which is sticky rice.
The song is Balada conducatorolui by Taraf de Haiduks.
Good job. The children's book is Captain Fracasse by Théophile Gautier.
And the TV show is the Super American Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
About
really is.
Texan high school football.
It's the most American TV show of all time, but we'll get to that.
And so this is going to be even though this is a podcast, podcasts are not inherently live. This one does have an element of moving around with the live element because our food is on its way.
It's coming.
So that segment
Allegedly.
may just move around the order.
Or we'll just have 20 minutes of complete silence until it gets here.
This makes a lot of
That's
sense.
what
to
You,
me.
Very
you
like
could
that.
just edit it.
We could do like a whole waiting for Godot thing. It'd be great.
In that I haven't seen that play, so it's just me reading the play while you guys watch.
You've never read Waiting for Godot?
No.
I haven't either.
It's actually Godot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy. Well, everyone should read Waiting for Godot while I reconsider my life choices
I
by
did.
not knowing that.
I did see 2 hours of Beckett short plays at Ball State University that was mixed.
Okay.
Adam, did you work on that by any chance?
No, I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you agree?
I'll attest, yeah.
Okay. The monologue with the lips is pretty good.
I liked the very first, the first one. It's called like Act with No Words or Play with No Words.
Oh yeah, that gave me hope.
Yeah.
And then they
crushed it immediately.
then they shine the light on different audience members. So I was like, I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Hey, does anyone want to hear a henge fact?
Holy shit!
Oh yeah. I forgot about henge facts for a while, but then I remembered again. So continuing in our theme of henge facts, where the fact is that someone believes this about henges, not that it's true. I would like everybody to know that a guy named W.S. Blackett decided to believe that the henge at Avaberry was built by Native Americans from the Appalachian Mountains, who in the ancient period crossed the Atlantic Ocean to build great megalithic monuments in Britain. Not even kidding.
Across the
how?
Bering Strait.
No, across the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh. Sorry.
Is that
that
how?
makes sense.
Don't worry about it.
That was a great hinge fact. Remember how live we were?
I mean, henge facts are great.
That was not a cut.
Nope, don't know what you're talking about.
Also, great
Sounded
news.
so natural.
The food's here.
Yay,
Yeah.
Yay! So, other podcasts
Smells
would
good.
record the
Smells real
intro, and we say, not today.
Where'd you get it from?
food. Our Thai place.
Yeah.
So, now that we have our hinge fact done, we have the food here, we have everything here, let's review the movie.
Yeah.
The movie this week is Down by Law.
Che tipo di persone è? Quelle persone che quando le incontri le guardi negli occhi e per tutta la vita, eh? Che? Oh! My friends!
What the hell's going on here, Bob?
Down by Law is the third film by Jim Jarmusch, who really kind of broke out with the indie film Stranger Than Paradise. This film teams him up with Tom Waits, who stars in this film and also did all the music for it. It is the story of two very, very kind of, well, not very, very, but two low-key criminals in Louisiana who get set up for a crime that's worse than they usually have. And they are in a cell together for many months until they're joined by a third guy, which is an Italian guy named Bob. So Zach, Jack, and Bob really do have to experience the hell is other people situation as they spend a whole lot of time with each other. And throughout the course of the film, they don't actually become friends. They just kind of grow to become tolerant with each other.
Oh, for sure.
This film is darkly funny. It is weird. It is very Louisiana at times. And most of all, it involves our best buddy, Tom Waits, who we reviewed his album just a few weeks ago.
Sure.
So I want to start with Lee. Lee, did you like Tom Waits more in this?
Yes, because he wasn't singing.
Yes, he was.
He's
Like
singing
his,
once in a while.
well, okay, ignoring the music parts, like him speaking is a completely normal sound, and unlike his singing, where it sounds like an animal is dying.
It's really true. He does sound like there's an animal dying when he sings.
But it's nice, though.
No.
No,
You're saying it's nice for animals to die?
No, it's nice to hear his sound. Him sing. And when he talks, it's like real low. It's not quite normal. You can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear him want to just bust out in song at any minute.
If we can call
We're
it.
down the hole!
How many packs of smokes must he have gone through to...
So, but Lee, do you like Tom Waits as an actor?
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of this movie.
Uh-oh, why?
I'm not a big fan of, like, long, drawn-out, long cuts for no reason. And I felt like all of these were like, watch this really long cut. And I'm putting it in here for no reason. It just seemed really, like, whenever that happens, it just seems really pretentious. And this whole movie felt super pretentious.
I absolutely agree.
I've never seen a Jim Jarmusch film, so that, like, and from my understanding, that's, like, all of his films are just, like, pretentious. So, but I just felt like this is a movie about three guys in jail. Like, lose the pretension. Like, be gritty, be gross, be nasty, be dirty, be Louisiana, not be an artsy film.
But it is an artsy film.
Yeah, it is.
And I do think the long cuts are there for a good reason, because, you know, one of the long cuts at the very beginning is after Tom Waits' girlfriend throws all his shit out of the apartment, and he's there with all his broken records and trash on the floor, and he just kind of sees what he values the most, which is his shoes. He puts on his shoes, ignores all the other crap, and kind of walks away. With the time when they're in jail, those cuts are so long to really emphasize that's what they're dealing with. This is one of the rare prison films to me where it's not inmates versus guards, or your first the man, or your first a systemic problem. It is just them against time and each other. In fact, you actually rarely see any guards the entire movie. And you only really get a depiction of time when you notice that his tally marks on the wall have, like, doubled since you last looked at them. And these are two guys, Zach and Jack, who not big talkers and don't like each other. It takes what looks like, I think, 3 months until Jack learns that Zach's even a DJ. This doesn't become a Disney buddy film where they, find the differences and get along. They don't. They grow to tolerate each other, and they grow to. I love watching this film because it's developing a very strange form of companionship, and I think that's what Jarmusch is the most interested in. It's those kind of really strange human connections we make.
See, this movie bugged me. First of all, because it is a prison movie, I think there's a lot of value to be gained in talking about relationships when you talk about the banality of prison. I was actually bothered by the fact that literally nothing was explained about why they were in prison, what the plan was, whether or not they'd gone to court, and other things, because I found it deeply unrealistic.
Wait, what do you mean?
I agree.
Why they were in prison?
We know why they were in prison, but, I mean, as a lawyer, I was annoyed with things like they apparently never went to court or had a trial. They were also apparently in jail when they should have been in... Like, they were not in prison. They were definitely in jail, which is different. And jail is before something. It may be a small point, but I think it's something that bugs me because there's a lot about this movie that just didn't really connect with me. And I think that for me, if you're going to make a movie set in the criminal justice system that is in part about the fact that, I mean, one of the central conceits of the movie is that two of these guys are falsely accused, and the third guy is not, which is delightful and like a fun little game to play. But I don't know. It was a prison movie that didn't talk about prison, and I was very unsatisfied by that. Instead of, I think they wanted me to be able to ignore it and just like focus on the relationships, but I don't know. It seemed very contrived. And again, maybe that's just because I know too much about how jail and prison works, but nothing that was happening on screen made sense. That they wouldn't be angry about how long they were there, that they wouldn't have comments about why they were being kept for so long. It just didn't make any fucking sense, and it bugged me.
I agree.
It made the characters seem, who were supposed to be realist characters, or realistic type characters with real relationships, seem like people who were not interacting with the situation that they were actually in. It bugged me.
But I think that speaks to the characters for me. Jarmusch is not interested in making a traditional prison movie. This isn't really about Law and Order at all. Spoilers for the second half of the film. This is not a very big plot of the film, but they do figure out a way to break out of prison. And the way they break out of prison
they never figure out
is they break out of prison. Because that's not... Jarmusch is very narrowing down what this movie is. This movie is people who tend to keep themselves isolated, forced to interact with people in a similar way, and no matter where they go, they still feel that kind of trapped confinement everywhere. It's hysterical how much they travel after jail, where it just feels like they're still in prison, because there's three of them, instead of being locked in a room, they're on a boat, or they happen to find a house with the exact same setup as the prison.
I enjoyed that. That was fun. It was the first half of the movie that I think it just didn't connect with me, because the part of the movie before they're in prison is fairly realist. I mean, it's very very broad. There's like naked ladies and pimps and things, and then they get into prison and they go all waiting for Godot on me, to make a reference to something we were mentioning. Like, they become these like weird sort of silent cardboard figures who've been falsely accused of something and seem to like genuinely kind of not give a shit. Like, and that, it just didn't ring true to me. It made the first part of the movie seem irrelevant. It's also the only movie that I've ever seen where I was annoyed that it was in black and white, because I don't think it added anything. I think
it just made it more pretentious.
It just made it more fucking pretentious, and it didn't have a purpose.
Pedro's shaking his head.
I don't think this movie was pretentious at all.
I
think the black and white was good.
Mm-hmm.
I did not question them being in jail for so long, because I feel like I've heard of things where people are in jail before they actually get to have their day in court for many, many months at a time, so I just kind of assumed,
I think they did have their day in court. Like,
I don't know.
And they're super guilty.
Well, sort
but
of.
That ambiguity is troublesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't bother me that much. Maybe it's because I don't know that much about the system.
But there was no the movie didn't create any tense feeling of like, when are they going to get out? When are they going to get out? It just
it cut
from
from hey guys, I think I figured something out to wait, what the hell? They're running out in the woods. Like, I had to rewind a few times. I'm like, did I miss something? What happened?
It's so funny.
It just cuts to them. You see them climbing down a rope into, like, a cellar or sewer or something.
There are really good prison breakout movies.
Yeah, this wasn't one of them.
No.
It didn't need to be.
No.
It was fun just watching these guys do their thing. And then they split up because they think, oh, finally we get to be free of each other. And they sort of are forced to come back together because they're slowly losing their mind. Except for the Italian guy, who was wonderful and probably my favorite.
So Bob is played by Roberto Benigni, who
Life
famously
is Beautiful.
won the Oscar for Best Actor for Life is Beautiful in the 90s. He's the guy who jumped on his chair before he got up on stage.
Was I reading this his first English language role?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
what the Wikipedia page said, at least.
Yeah.
He gets to be in another really awesome Jarmusch film, which is about a series of cab drivers in New York. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the 5 cab drivers they highlight. It's a good movie too. But yeah, there are great Prison Break movies. The one with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman.
The Great Escape.
Yeah, no. Well, that's a different Prison Break movie. Steve McQueen. Papillon. There we go.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
But to do that well, to do an escape film, you need to understand the geography of the place. You understand the dynamics, what can go wrong, what's in that. This isn't a prison movie; it's a cell movie. So
Yeah.
when they even get to go on their walks, which we wouldn't know it exists until late in the film, we don't get to follow them on their walk. They just come back to boredom, painful boredom with people that annoy them.
Yep.
So would you all have been satisfied if there was even just like a little court scene with a judge that was like, I find you guilty?
I think
Yeah.
I wanted the movie to decide whether it was sort of surrealist, and it hinted at that sometimes, or sort of, maybe not surrealist, absurdist, or whether it wasn't. And it bugged me that it didn't make that choice. Because ultimately the characters are trying to have an authentic relationship. I mean, they are, having an authentic relationship. And they have a conversation about guilt and innocence. But it really rings hollow to the actual lived experience that they're having at that moment. And that was probably the scene that bugged me the most, as well as the fact that they seem so, unafraid and unworried upon escape. I mean, it's very idealized, but it...
I thought they seemed very...
Well, they're like,
anxious
hell
and
no,
afraid.
we're not going to Texas.
Well, I mean, they're frantic about certain things, and they almost leave Bob for their own safety.
No, it's true, but I guess I just didn't. I'm not sure that those added levels of abstraction, which again, the biggest moment where I would think we could all agree that the movie basically said fuck you to realism or fuck you to caring about continuity is when they just suddenly break out of prison without anybody telling us how they did it. And that's... I don't know that I got the payoff from that was deserved by the subversion of normal storytelling. And I was bugged by the first half even more that way.
I think just a little bit more of the absurdity would have been perfect. Just one or two more elements would have made the whole movie better, but because the first half, before they get in jail, it's it seems like it's trying to be a realistic look at these criminals' lives, and then they're in jail and it's completely different tone.
I don't think that it's... I think that they skip those parts, though, because they're not important to the story at all, really. And it's about them... It's not about them fighting the system or trying to get out of jail. It's about them just dealing with their circumstances. Because in the first scenes, they don't really respond to the women that are talking to them or the people that are talking to them. They just kind of want to be left alone. And so you see that in prison, and they just they're just dealing with the situation that they're in. And once they obviously want to escape, but they just don't have really that real sense of trying to get out of their current situation.
Yeah, I think of it as just I just see them as they are the focus of the movie, and the world just happens to them, but we don't need to see why or how it does it to put them in whatever situation they are in. And it doesn't matter.
I think that's a lot what Jim Jarmusch is going for. I mean, there's a definite reason why they're named Zach and Jack. These two guys are two sides of the same coin because they have such a... Lazy isn't the right word. They have such a pessimistic viewpoint of the world that, of course, this shit happened to me.
Yeah.
Both of the things that put them in jail are them being criminals, but they're taking the risk for a cheap buck, and they're going, oh, of course it happened to me. Yeah, because you took the risk kind of thing. And the world's reflected by that. They don't try to change the situation. The only one who suggests breaking out of prison is Bob, who has such a contrasting viewpoint of the world. He has such an optimistic viewpoint. He wants to keep moving and learning, and he wants to get to know people. He has a view of the world that is often very silly, but it's always seen as more rewarding. And to go a little bit more spoilers towards the end of the film, again, it's not a very plot-heavy film, but when they are, they're going through the swamps, through the marshes, through the forests, everything, they eventually find somewhere to eat. It's kind of a middle-of-nowhere restaurant. And what happens to be in there? A beautiful Italian woman who loves Bob.
Oh, yeah.
It's because that... this movie is the secret before the secret, right? Bob puts out to the world this kind of hope, and the world responds back to them. Whereas Zach and Jack are going to end the film with no hopes, no dreams, no nothing, just going to bitch as they arrive to the next thing. And it doesn't matter what road they walk down at the end. It's just going to keep being shitty for them because they're going to keep being shitty to the world.
Well, I mean, they could have even... I feel like they kind of were becoming friends, sort of, and that they respect each other towards the end, but just like what you said, the way they treat the world, they reap what they sow, and then in the end they're like, alright, fuck it, pick away. Spoilers. You pick away and I'll just go the other way. Alright, fine. And then they sort of begrudgingly leave each other. They know they kind of don't want to be together, but they still kind of do, and I'm sure that they'll feel sort of a little bit missing because they did experience a lot of things together, and it's one of the only times probably in their entire lives that they actually had a relationship with people to actually have an effect on their own life.
That scene is hilarious to me, to use two terrible 2016 words. That was the greatest bromance frenemy scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You two are adorable. How much you hate each other, but you love each other. But you hate each other.
Well, and to be clear, I mean, I think what I was saying at the beginning was more, I think I'm trying to explain why I didn't personally connect with this movie. It's not a bad movie. I get it. I mean, I get what the movie's going for. I do think that the relationships in the center are interesting and are well drawn. For me, I really do feel like this movie gets lost in its own artsiness. Instead of, again, when I ask for that realism, it's because the lack of realism is distracting to me from the key story. And I think the key story is really rich and is really interesting. And I think that he gets lost in making an artsy film when really he's making a film that's a very simple story about three guys. And just some of the affectations make it seem much less simple.
I think that it isn't... I don't think it's artsy at all. I think it is just simple, and the long shots mean that he was going for a simple movie. That's not artsy to do. That is easy to do. Honestly, to do just one shot of one scene.
It was impressive how long they were and how much the actors had to change within it. I mean, typically when you have character beats at that, you do a simple cut, but it felt very much like a play. And to have it be like a play puts emphasis on the actor. And
was there a soundtrack at all to this?
Yeah, you got some songs sprinkled in that Tom Waits had, just to kind of give it its Louisiana
here
flavor.
And there,
but no, Jim Jarmusch, he kind of goes for these kind of simple, quiet stories, but also when he wants to, he can get hysterically pretentious. I love his western called Dead Man with Johnny Depp. That's awesome. If you want to see a very philosophical assassin film. He made a movie called Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai with Forrest Whitaker. That's awesome. And sometimes it goes too far. The Limits of Control is a piece of shit. But aside from that one, I just really like it when a director has a really fun voice. Mm-hmm. I mean, Only Lover That's Live is his most recent film, which is about vampires living in Detroit, chilling, and talking about how music and culture has changed throughout the centuries. Kind of like what we do. Is delightfully pretentious, but it's Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton driving around in a car being vampires. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess maybe if I described Jarmusch, it'd be awesome pretension, not gagging pretension.
I'm kind of in Adam's boat. The only real time when I thought it was kind of artsy or maybe even verging on pretentious was the beginning, like all the pre-jail stuff. I was like, oh, this could be a wonderful movie. Like, I'm excited. I wanted like a super pretentious artsy film, and then it stopped. And they went to jail.
Because their lives stopped.
Their lives stopped, exactly. And I was like, this is fascinating. And sort of, it really is that sort of like you're watching People Behind the Glass or something like that feel to it. No, I liked it. And it worked. I don't know.
Leo, I want you to have all the final thoughts you want. I'm worried that we dominated too much.
Oh no, you guys are fine. I agree with Sarah on a lot of this aspect. I feel like if the beginning part was less realistic, I would have enjoyed the movie more overall. But again, I feel like there's a definite split in tone, and that really threw me off. Because I was looking forward to this gritty, cool movie, and then I get this pretentious ass piece of shit.
Well, I think it's time for hinges then. I'm going to give this a 4.6.
I'm going to say 3.4.
I can't pick a good number. 4. I like Austin's number, 4.6.
As usual, Adam and I are dithering over like 2 points. I mean, if it's a 3.2.
Well, yeah, if I put something in the threes, that means that I liked it.
Right.
I'm not like crazy about it.
Right. And that's
Three's
about
for
where I
you,
am
is-
too.
Yeah,
Interesting.
great.
And late?
I like that.
Like a 2.5?
Wrong! No, I'm just kidding.
No one is
It's
ever
actually not bad.
wrong on hinge ratings. It's their opinion. This is Down by Law by Jim Jarmusch. It is available on the Criterion Collection, which means it's on Hulu. Unless it's beyond November 11th.
So watch
Then,
fast.
It'll be on filmstruck.com. So, check it out. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
I saw it at the library the first time I saw it, so libraries are also a thing. Now it's time for the album segment.
Yeah.
We're listening to a little band called Nirvana. Lee, what album is this?
This is In Utero.
Should I be all apologies? What else should I say? Everyone is gay. What else should I write? I don't have the right. What else should I be? All apologies. In the sun, I feel it's one. In the sun, married. I wish I was like you.
In Utero is their third and final studio album. They did the very famous like unplugged MTV album or performance after that. That was their kind of last thing that they did. So this was like right before that. It came out in September of 1993. And yeah, it's Nirvana. Last week I kind of said that I wasn't going to like it, and I have to say I was wrong.
Aww.
It is recorded. I was wrong one of very few times in my life, in my very, very long life.
All right.
I think it was the perfect album for just the kind of like month I've had at work, and I listened to it at work, and it just was kind of the perfect soundtrack for that. It's kind of angry, and it's really raw and grungy and emotional, and it worked out well, I think, for my soundtrack for the day.
So, Nirvana has always been a band that I kind of hear about more than I really think about, I suppose, because the cult status of Kurt Cobain is really kind of only paralleled to the youth's affection for the Beatles when they were out, right? I mean,
yeah, they definitely got similarities.
None of people who just spent all day crying after they learned that Kurt Cobain died.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's another one of the 27 Club, so...
Yeah.
Is that also what James Dean is?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them. James Dean is also a member of the 27 Club.
James
27.
Dean, Jimi Hendrix, lots of them.
Yeah, there's a ton.
So it's... This band and this sound really kind of connects with people. I wish I could say it connected with me. I also have had a weird work time recently. You've definitely had it worse. But I didn't find this as... I guess I don't find the grunge scene, as sirens play around me, as much of a relief.
Yeah,
They're coming for me.
I'm just gonna say that I don't really find the grunge thing as much of a release for me. Like it doesn't. I don't know. Like, Lee, can you explain exactly like why you found this to be kind of perfect timing for you? Not saying like what happened in your life, but like how does the music work out that way?
I think because it was more raw and emotional and less polished. That's kind of what grunge is really known for. It's grungy, it's dirty, it's gross, it's raw and unpolished and not overproduced. Some imperfections are left in on purpose and things like that. So I think that's just kind of why it worked well for me. It was it gave me that raw emotional feeling that I kind of needed. It just, I don't know, it worked really well.
I think, Lee, and it's probably evident to everybody else who's listened to it, if I just caught on to episode 48, I think you and I flip for film and music. Because, like, I like when things are, like, delightfully imperfect in films, but in albums, I like things to be cleaner and more structured. And I think you're the opposite on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because a lot of my favorite bands are grungy and dirty and gross, so I could definitely agree with that statement.
Because the two songs that are liked on this album were the most, like, populous songs, which is Heart-Shaped Box and All the Apologies.
And then
Rape Me.
No, I like parts of Rape Me, when they weren't saying Rape Me.
This is fair.
One of their better songs too. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, like, populous, I was like...
Well, they're the two singles on the album.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were written as the two singles, and they are. I mean, they have music videos. They played on radio stations. That's what always sort of strikes me as interesting about Nirvana. I wasn't really paying attention when they were popular. It's always funny to me when I listen to a whole album of theirs that they were as popular as they were, because their singles have this sort of, I mean, they have that infectious greatness. Smells Like Teen Spirit being the obvious one, but All Apologies and Heart-Shaped Box both have that feeling of like, oh, like Kurt Cobain had something in terms of like that, like cut you open and have your guts spill out,
Come As You Are,
rawness,
I think was a
Come
good
As
one.
You Are. But the rest of the album, and this is true of many of the other two Nirvana albums, but most of this one, I think, is very like wall of sound, kind of inaccessible in a way, which makes it sort of interesting that they were as popular as they were. It really says something about the time. It doesn't work for me. I can't. I will listen to Nirvana singles all day, but a Nirvana album is just not my speed. I think they're at their best when there's a melody somewhere in there, and the first like 5 songs on the album, you're like, there's just nothing but a wall of sound.
The second or third song was Heart-Shaped Box.
No, well, maybe I listened to them out of
Third.
I mean, certainly the first 2 songs are wall of sound.
Yeah.
Without really much else. And yeah, I mean, it's not me. But I do think that both, I mean, I love All Apologies. I've loved All Apologies for a long time. It's now stuck in my head and will probably be stuck in my head for days.
This was an album that they actually kind of embraced that kind of desperate sound. It was the poppy in quotes sound of a Heart-Shaped Box and All Apologies, and then they wanted the other harsher, more raw things. They didn't want something that was kind of just middle of the road like Nevermind was. So they embraced the pop for a couple of songs, and they embraced the grunge for a couple of songs too.
It was kind of for themselves.
Yeah.
For themselves, not for the fans.
Well,
cool.
I kind of went on a deep dive today about this album because I thought it was interesting, and I mean, it is like the great fear about the third Nirvana album was that they were going to go pop. And yeah, right, their singles did, arguably. I mean, All Apologies is probably the poppiest Nirvana song, I would say. Maybe Come As You Are would be the other one that I would put there, but I mean, but then the rest of it is just like completely, delightfully inaccessible grunge, which I can appreciate but can't enjoy, unfortunately.
I don't know, but I guess their use of like guitar and distortion, even in something like Come As You Are, I don't think I would ever make the jump to calling it a pop song. I'd still call it some sort of rock. I'm somewhere between Sarah and Lee. For some parts of it, I did find like Sarah said, wall of sound aspect inaccessible, sometimes maybe even offensive to my ears. But
you mean sound-wise, not rape me morally.
Oh no, that's just a song, and songs evoke feelings and stuff with their lyrics. That's a whole thing, and I don't really listen to lyrics anyway, so I found it to be a pretty song.
Okay, I didn't, because I heard the phrase they kept repeating the whole song.
It took me a while to realize that's actually what they were saying. Like back in the day when I first like heard it on the radio and all that stuff, I was like, is it what? Oh, okay.
He actually wrote that song to be, like, apparently to be a song that was so blatant that nobody could misinterpret it. Mm-hmm. And the whole meaning behind it was, yeah, go ahead, rape me, do whatever you want, but I'm still going to be alive, and I'm going to fuck up your life, and I'm going to rape you in the end. That is apparently what the point of the song is.
Kurt Cobain.
Per Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, no, I didn't find any sweet beauty to it, or even, like, understand my heartache. I saw it as a... I want to upset whoever's listening to this song. And,
nah.
It worked.
Not really. It was actually kind of pleasant to my ears.
Oh,
for a lot of it. Well, because it's actually, like, a more well-structured musical piece, as opposed to a lot of the just ear noise that happens, which sometimes it was actually pretty interesting and great. And you could hear, like, little interesting things that they were doing with their instruments in the background, if you could actually, like, pick it out, which sometimes is actually really hard.
Yeah, how they recorded all of the drum parts, which the drummer, Dave Grohl, amazing drummer, lead singer and guitarist of Foo Fighters, so all around fantastic musician. What they did for those parts was they just put his drum kit in the studio, and then they set microphones all around it.
Cool.
Instead of just, like, from one direction, so that you could pick up him, and, like, you could pick up the various noises from the drum set, and not just the music from it.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was a lot that was interesting, there was a lot that was just, like, noise. And there was a lot that was actually musically interesting and a good tune, song, whatever, in the classical... What's the verse, chorus, bridge? Is that how songs are structured? I don't know how songs are structured.
Do you run the song segment?
Shh, don't tell them.
No, they know.
Oh God. But it's as an album, I don't know how much I would listen to it in its entirety, like beginning to end, but it was still not unenjoyable. And it was actually enjoyable a little bit.
I agree with most of what everyone's been saying, mostly Austin and Pedro. Because I kind of like it, but I don't like all the songs. Also like what Sarah said. And basically,
wow, just
Lee,
throw
I
me
just
on
don't
the bench.
agree with you.
Yep.
Shut up, bus. I don't know what's happening tonight.
So I think I had more of a cerebral appreciation for this than like a visceral thing, just because Nirvana is Nirvana, and they do have some really, really, really fantastic songs. But yeah, overall this was fine. It was a nice listen. I'm glad I did. And I will say that I think one of the in addition to the songs that people have said, I think one of the standouts for me was Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge
I did
on
like that
Seattle.
one.
Which one was that one?
It was like it was right after Rape Me, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that one was particularly interesting. So that's all I have to say. I'm done.
I was
All right,
surprised at how much my mood or opinion of the song would change within a song, like of the album. It could change very drastically and dynamically, which is really weird for a lot of their songs.
There's a part I love in Rape Me. There is. Like, there's like a part about like that I forget what is the phrase. He kind of keeps repeating, kind of in a quiet.
I'm not a lonely one, or whatever. I'm not the only one.
I'm not the only one. Yeah, like I don't know, like that. I really thought that was effective, and like
Before,
really
it's just before he starts blaring out "Rape Me."
yeah. Then like, oh, you lost me
me.
again. Like, like that part I thought was so like it created this really interesting mood of like fighting against isolation. It's interesting.
Well, even just the beginning of the song is real smooth and mellow, and kind of just like it's gonna happen. It's got that classic like Nirvana sound, and then he comes in all smooth voice, not super screamy. I'm gonna just row my throat. Rape me. Like, wait, what? And just kind of like, whoa, huh? Oh, and then he repeats it.
I think it's time for hinges now. Lee?
I will give this a 4.
3.4.
3.
3.8.
3.6.
All right, that is In Utero by Nirvana. It is very famous.
It is.
Give it a listen. And now it is time for the food segment. Sarah, what do we have this week?
This week we have Mochi Gome, which is sticky rice. So sticky rice is a kind of rice, also known as glutinous rice, despite not actually having gluten in it, it being rice and all, that sticks together. The reason it sticks together is because there's gluten that forms and then sloughs off the grains during the cooking process. And it's very common in a lot of Asian cuisines. So I ordered from a Thai place that has it. You can get this stuff pretty much anywhere. And I got 2 versions. One is just sticky rice in a cup. That's just what the rice is like by itself when you cook it. And the other is sticky rice with banana, which is a banana that is cooked and wrapped in delicious sticky rice.
So is this different from just short grain rice?
Yes. You'll be able to tell because of the way it sticks to each other. It's got honestly the rice that they gave me is not as sticky as I'm used to rice being, but I think the sticky rice in the banana concoction will be the
Well, we should start with
extra necessary.
the sticky rice by itself, right? To
Sure.
get
Pass it around.
Get the base review. Actually, yeah, this is a.
Is the banana stuff like? Do they do anything to the rice? Do they mash it? It comes in banana leaves. It looks like.
It does. It comes in banana leaves.
I'm looking right at it.
Yeah, and it's got. Yeah, it's really good. You should eat it for your face.
It's too sticky.
Adam thinks it's too sticky.
Wait for the
can I
banana
chew?
one.
I love the final rice.
Eat this with your face.
Okay.
I just handed him a forkful of banana sticky rice.
What do you mean it's wrapped in a banana?
So it's wrapped in a
Leaf.
banana leaf. And we've got banana leaf. Then we've got sticky rice with I think tapioca in it.
Ooh.
And
That
then
has to
we've
be
got
tapioca.
it is tapioca. And then we've got banana banana on the inside.
Tapioca is really gonna make it sticky.
And it's all cooked, and it's very sticky.
So I actually agree with Adam. The normal version is actually too sticky for me.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird side to have because I don't know, like there's a weird thing that when Americans make rice, none of it sticks together because we're dumb and we don't eat the food with chopsticks, kind of thing like that. But I like it when the rice is like just the right amount of sticky, so that way it can kind of easily be pinched off to add to the food. This is really it becomes a blob too quickly.
Yeah.
But when it's with the banana, it's delicious because it feels like it's actual like separate part of the meal, I guess.
Yeah, I tend to like sticky rice best in sticky rice desserts. I sort of agree that the ability in general with sticky rice to like stick a fork in it and end up with like a whole ball of rice is like not my favorite thing. But in desserts, I think it's a really cool texture.
That's true.
That pairs really well with a lot of things. So sort of, I mean, as usual, it's hard to review like a whole food stuff. Like sometimes it's used well, and sometimes it's not used well.
Oh.
But yeah.
I kind of like sticky rice because I like rice and I like the flavor of it, and I like just having a giant ball of it shoved in my mouth. But also,
Yeah, you do.
No
it's,
follow-up.
I also like it because, especially as the starch base for a lot of very saucy foods, it holds together, it doesn't fall apart, and you can like have just like a piece of rice that is full of flavorful sauces. Like, give me a bottle of hot sauce and some sticky rice, and I'll be a-okay.
That's actually not a bad idea. You guys should put hot sauce on this because especially you two have a great affinity for hot sauce.
But then
It's
I
just like a
taste hot
sponge.
sauce.
It's just a sponge
Yeah.
of hot sauce. Yeah,
It's what
that's
you
wonderful.
think. Yeah.
All right,
The
trying to make the segment interesting. Trying to add some pizzazz.
Wait, but we can have the
some
pepper,
spice
just
to it.
the tastiness.
the banana bit is good. You can definitely taste
I think
how
this
it's.
banana tastes delicious.
It's a delicious
You
banana.
can definitely taste how it's being binded by the tapioca a little bit.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's just a banana that I'm about to put in my
Yeah,
mouth.
that's just
That
banana
is just banana.
in the middle. Yeah.
The banana was great. It tastes like a banana.
It's banana.
Woo.
You took a bite of the banana.
It's tasty.
But it's fine. I kind of wish I could make sticky rice all the time. I honestly
you
did
can.
think
You can buy it at the store and make it.
Well, I thought for the longest time that it really was like the difference between long grain, medium grain, short grain being the stickiest, long grain being more separate. But there is like a separate category that is sticky.
Yeah.
And is it just like
It's
how it comes? Like
it's because of the coating on the outside of it. It becomes glue. It becomes
Yeah.
gluey,
Okay.
glutinous rice. And yeah, I mean it's all over Southeast Asia and Asia generally. It's actually very easy to get. It's just that we're very used to eating our Chinese food with regular, boring, long grain rice. So it's sort of it is all over the place. If you look on your local Thai food or Chinese food menu, you can get sticky rice. It's just different.
So does short grain rice not stick?
It doesn't stick like sticky rice sticks.
Okay.
Sticky rice like has a like
It's got a purpose.
you could create architecture with sticky rice.
Yeah.
Uh, in a way that you kind of can't with
Yeah.
even short grain rice. But in shape, it is usually that this is actually longer than what I usually see.
It is a little bit. I'm surprised.
Sticky rice as being, but usually it's quite short grain. So
Is it like a hybrid that they made specifically
No.
to be sticky?
it's a very common. I mean, it grows everywhere in Asia. It's like super common. It's just it's a different food than regular rice. You know, it's got a different use, and yeah, I always feel like I want to use it to create food architecture because it really is very sticky.
Is it what they use in sushi, or is that a different kind?
Sushi rice first of all is treated with vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now I'm interested in that question.
I forgot they had a big old rice bit in Jiro Dreams of Sushi. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh yeah.
I forgot
There's a
what they
whole
said.
rice thing for sure. Yeah.
We just rewatched Jiro Dreams of Sushi because Documentary Now did a parody of it.
And it was hilarious.
It was wonderful.
And delightful.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
But yeah. So sticky rice. Do you wanna henge it?
So me throw my headphones on the ground in anger, and
You're not a part of their system.
There we go.
You're an adult.
All right, give it a rating.
I'll give it a 3.7.
2.7.
I'll say 3.8.
Wow, guys. It's like one of my favorite rices, and I love rice, so it's like a 4.8.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a.
I love rice. I grew up on rice.
All right.
This makes sense.
Cool.
In that anything could make sense for
Sure.
the origin of Pedro.
Yeah.
If you had said I grew up on bananas, I would believe it.
I'd go, that makes sense.
You could say, like, it really could make
Bananas
sense.
are hit and miss for me. It depends on my mood. Very often, I'm just not in the mood for a banana.
Man, Pedro.
No follow-up. Sarah, say the name of the rice again.
It's Mochi Gome Su, which is sticky rice.
All right, now Pedro,
Yeah.
tell us what the song is for this week.
The song is Balada conducatorolui.
Mai pai de foi. Mai ziua de 22 a venit vremea înapoi. Să trăim, frate, și noi, să trăim, frate, și noi. Că foiță foielată, ca să trăim în dreptate, să trăim în libertate, să trăim în libertate. Vai de-o viola, acolo în Timișoara, acolo în Timișoara.
It's a song in Romanian
It is that.
by Tarov. I feel bad because I don't know how to pronounce this because these are all like okay. So the name that the band is known by is Taraf de Haiduks, which is the way the French put it on an album when they recorded them and sort of released them worldwide on their first commercial album. But they're a Romanian band. Band is sort of a strong word for it. Troupe. The word Taraf literally means troop. And so they are a troupe, and the name of their band is Troupe of Haiduks. And Haiduks is roughly, translates roughly to outlaw.
Huh.
So they're known as sort of the Troupe of Outlaws, which is really cool. But Taraf it's a very
So they're
tradition-
Company of Thieves?
Yeah, kind of. Something like that. It's a certain type of troupe of artists. I think, let's see, it's written down here. A troupe of Lautari. And Romanian, I'm pretty sure, is the most close language to Latin that still exists, that is spoken.
That's Romansh. I'm
Romansh?
pretty sure, which is not Romanian.
Which
Sorry.
is not Romanian.
I'm going to call you out of there. That's like
Is it?
the weird. That's like the weird. Romansh is the weird.
But where do they speak Romansh?
They speak it in Switzerland, in weird parts of Switzerland.
Huh.
It's like the bonus Jonas to the Romance languages. It's the one that no one knows.
Alright, well then, the second closest... I know it's closer than Portuguese, which is like
Well, Romanian's
one of the
not
more common...
Romance language.
Yeah, it is. Romanian?
Romanian?
Pretty sure it is.
Just listen to it. Romanian.
I know.
Like, I could pick out a couple of words here and there that they would say. But
According
anyway,
to Wikipedia, it is a Romance language.
Oh,
Oh,
I know that.
snap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, it sounds... There are a lot of words that are real similar to Portuguese. It's, like, real weird. But, is it the closest, Lee?
I'm gonna have to give me a couple
whatever.
minutes.
Anyway, I'm talking a lot about the man. They play folk music, and it's really wonderful. It's basically gypsy music. It's kind of blurred where this turns into gypsy music and vice versa. Because gypsies in the end are just kind of people that started wandering around. Possibly. I could have offended a lot
They
of
actually
people.
don't like the phrase gypsy.
Romani?
Yes.
Romani is, yeah,
Okay.
Gypsy is the derogatory term for it.
for sure.
I did not know that. I apologize.
Yes.
But these guys are specifically from like a certain region in Romania that are well known for their musical ability, and this is music that sort of it was done a lot in the beginning, middle of the century. These guys sort of started. They're post-Soviet era because I'm pretty sure the Soviets were kind of like not so cool about this. The song itself, I have no idea how old it is. I have no idea where it comes from. It could just be something that people grew up with for
Yeah,
like centuries.
it's on their first album, which
It
is
is.
a bunch of like
Just
classic
it's just
tunes.
exactly, and it's a lot of fun in the same way that a lot of Zigan music is. It's not in any key that I can think of. Like, it's not in like a major or minor. Maybe modal. I don't know. You mentioned that last week.
Yeah, it's cool. I would have to look at the
kooky.
Yeah, I have to look at the notes more carefully in the music to know exactly what's going on there. But yeah, it's definitely not in a classic Western major or minor key.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It's doing something interesting.
The name of the song translates roughly to Ballad of the Dictator. I think that's just what it's known as in a lot of places. But when I put the title into Google Translate, it detected that it was Romanian and called it Ballad Driver. So I was like, sure, whatever.
Sure. That makes sense that conducatorolui
conductor,
would probably be the same word.
Driver
Okay.
or someone who, well, I mean, a driver of nations, or a nation could be a dictator. I
Update
guess.
on language. Phonetically, Italian is closest to Latin, but morphologically and syntactically, Romanian is.
Yeah, okay, good. So in 2 of the 3 ways. Cool. Anyway. Thanks, Lee.
You're welcome.
You're a good record keeper. Anytime we need to know anything, you just spit it out. You got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's true. I was wrong. I had no idea that Romanian was a Romance language. It's the
That's
only...
what I was told. Like,
Just
the
listen
only
to
times.
it.
It's the only it's
Romance.
apparently the only it's like a different I'm like now fascinated. It's like a different branch from the Western Romance language. It's the Eastern Romance language along with Dalmatian, which is totally
What?
an actual language dialect.
That's
What?
pretty awesome.
Alright. That's my
Yeah,
story.
I could pick out like a few words here and there. Sort
Well,
of.
Marco Polo was Dalmatian, technically.
Yeah, he was, which is great.
That is cool. Okay, so I feel like I'm talking about everything but the song.
It's
I
definitely
noticed
true.
that.
The song, it's a lot of fun. I
Is
don't
it?
really know. I think it is. Well, because so in the beginning it starts out with a fiddle and I believe an accordion. It sounds like an accordion,
Some sort of accordion-like.
yeah, some
Yeah.
sort of traditional accordion-like instrument and some sort of kind of percussion-y type instrument, maybe, but that's not percussion. Like kind of like a xylophone. I don't know. But the fiddle plays like this spooky little intro where he sets it up. You know things are going to happen. And then they start this one thing that is sort of famous amongst people that know this music or play this music or even violinists. It's really cool. It's where you play your violin, but instead of using your bow, you use a spool of string in your pocket. So that really crackly, dirty violin that you heard, it's because it wasn't being used with a bow. A guy literally had a little spool of string in his pocket, and he pulls it out, and as he plays, he pulls the thread across the string, and then when his arm is out, he keeps pulling the string. And that's what gives it that, like, super... It is as if someone is dragging one piece of string across your playing strings, instead of, like, the more refined bow sound. And that is something that's it's like fairly well known. Like I remember watching videos of this sort of thing, and like as soon as the guy pulls out like the spool of yarn, everyone cheers and they're like because it's actually really hard to do and to do well, and to get just that kind of sound. It's a really cool traditional sound, and I sort of geeked out when I heard it.
It's not as grating as you might think.
It's not.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, you can hear, like, it catching on the string, literally, but
Yeah.
it doesn't bother you. It's not offensive.
I was bothered a bit by it.
Really?
Is this me?
No, I mean, that's fine.
It was a little odd.
Yeah,
It is
I found it a bit. It's like unpleasant, really. Like start the song.
I can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
It's not a sound we're used to, right?
no, it's definitely its own weird noise. But I really am always intrigued when you've got interesting new sounds that make music, and that's why I thought this was cool.
But, I mean, yeah, it's good old sort of Eastern European-ish folk music at its best. I don't know. I don't know if I can add anything else.
Anyone have anything else to say about it, really?
Not really.
I thought it was charming and delightful.
Exactly.
It was neat.
I thought it was okay.
It was neat. Shall we? Henge?
Yeah,
Sure.
I guess so.
Cool. I'll give this a I'll give it a solid 4. I'd listen to it again.
3.
3.
4.4.
Whoa!
Nice.
I liked it a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
And Lee?
3.
All right, that is.
Oh God. Ballad of the Dictator.
No, it's not.
No, say it again.
Balada conducta. I always add a T there by accident because of Latin. Balada conducatorolui. Conducatorolui. Torolui or torului? Depends on if you're reading it in English or not. But yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Check out that song. Now y'all learned some stuff. Speaking of romance languages, and just really getting a sense of culture and getting a sense of time and place.
And
Adam,
words.
what did we read this week?
We read a book called Captain Fracasse, which is my French accent, which was written originally by full name Pierre Jules Théophile Gautier.
So, with the nature of the 1001 children's books, it is organized by the year of which the audience is intended. So
Age.
age. So if we are assigned an early number, that is typically in 0 to 3, which is why we've reviewed things like Maisie Goes to Play School.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, 3 to 5, 5 to 8, and then later we go down the numbers, the more adult it's going to be. So, Karma, besides being cursed for centuries, where we've had to review sometimes a 5-page picture book, we had to read a 450-page French novel from, the 1850s?
Yes.
Oh no.
I don't know the exact year it was published, but it was in the 1850s, and no one really cares. And it has small margins and small fonts.
Oh, yeah. And long sentences.
Yeah, very long sentences.
And also, this is not a popular book.
No, even there's a biography of the author at the beginning of it that I read, and it says that it took some urging from people around Théophile to even publish it, because he did several revisions and basically shelved it. And meanwhile, he was a very popular poet, and he had written some other adventure books which were very popular. But he was just not a fan of this one, but they published it anyway.
And so it had to have gotten some kind of recognition over the years.
Yes.
Even in smaller circles now. I mean, there are way bigger novels from this time that still kind of hold relevance for families and children in 2016. Now that we both have read this from beginning to end, should more people read this?
That's an interesting question, because the book is about a baron who's living by himself, and he is just sad and lonely when an acting troupe comes by, and he falls in love with this woman and decides to join the acting troupe on their travels around France, trying to, make money acting. And then when one of the troupe dies, the baron actually assumes a name and takes over as an actor. and after that, someone else falls in love with the woman that he's in love with, and so it becomes essentially like back and forth revenge. So it's like
really obsessive revenge.
Yes.
City crossing, dueling motherfuckers.
Yeah. Like getting bandits and assassin swordsman,
Yeah.
who is like surprisingly one of the most honorable people in the whole book.
I like that guy.
Yeah, I did too. So it is a good story. It just takes so long to get to it.
Why I throw another question towards you.
Yes.
Is it a good story?
I think so. It's.
I think it started off really strong. I liked this lonely baron going to more humble means, kind of discovering art and beauty and friendship and camaraderie. But there is a point, it's basically right when he assumes that name, that the book just decides, no, fuck it. This is the greatest person who ever lived. This is the greatest actor who ever lived. This is the greatest romantic who's ever lived. This is the greatest person of all time. And it jumped to a Robin Hood status without needing to. Like, it went from just a guy in isolation to the greatest person in a duel ever. Like,
yeah.
It really became so inflated to the point when he asks the girl he loves to marry him, and she gets a giant like monologue about how she can't because there's no way she can be good enough for him.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a way to stall the plot.
Yeah.
That's when the story lost me, because it's some things are fun, you know, troop, assassins, swordsmen, duels,
exactly,
crazy villain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in theory, it's a good story, and if you just kind of we're sitting around having a beer with your friends, telling this story, it'd be fun.
It has an Errol Flynn kind of vibe to it.
Exactly, yeah.
Not only his Robin Hood movie, but also some other things like that Captain Blood.
Right.
And such.
But the Baron definitely does suffer from a thing that we've seen before in these children's books that we've read about, like, kind of the infallible hero who just has these... He learned swordsmanship from his manservant, Pierre. Mm-hmm. And
who's
the guy
still at the place.
Yeah, who he just leaves behind with his cat and his dog.
His super old cat and dog, which we're going to talk about later because we have to.
And he was, his name is the main character's name is De Sigognac, and he basically goes to Pierre. He's just like, "Bye, hope you survive."
He does.
While I'm gone.
Him saying goodbye to his pets was the real first moment of humanity in the book, because it starts off so slow, over-describing this place that he's ultimately going to leave.
I believe there are 4 or 5 pages describing the place.
That he's gone by page 20.
Mm-hmm.
But when he then describes these cats, it's like super loyal cat and dog who are so old, along with like his house and his reputation as well. It's like, oh, these are actually like, super sad, like, animals who are sad to see him go and will never see him again.
Yeah.
Until they do see him again in the last few pages. And this is a 450-page book. Story wrapped up clearly 50 pages ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They had like the big like ordeal, the climax, and I was like, hold on. There are 100 pages
There's
left.
nothing left to go.
What the fuck is happening?
I just thought it was insane. Spoiler for a book that no one's going to read. He kills the cat in the third to last page?
He doesn't
Why?
No, he doesn't kill the cat.
Yes, he does.
No, he overfeeds the cat.
What?
No, the author kills the cat.
Oh, the author kills the cat. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, the cat.
I thought you meant the character kills the cat.
No, I'm saying the author chose to wrap it up for 50 pages, wrap it up. I guess I should kill the cat, right?
Yeah.
And happily ever after. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
The reason that, like, narratively, the reason he killed the cat was so that De Sigognac could go into the backyard and bury him like a proper Christian or whatever, I don't know. And he finds this treasure chest of his old, like, family jewels and stuff Which is pointless because he's already
He's
married
so-
into this family and
so
he's
rich.
He's rich and he's like re-secured his name, which was he thought his name was going to go extinct, but he's already done that, so it was just silly.
I know it's a book of its time, whatnot, but there are some really weird clash issues going on here. It was so nice when like he was kind of one with the people and the troop until he decides to like become better than the people and then become better than everything, and then the way the romantic triangle works out class wise is insane.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a point after the dumbest twist I've seen in a while where everyone's going, well, I guess by class rules, we should all be unhappy for these 5 ways. The end. And like everyone's emotional wants and needs are dropped because of madness. The bad guy basically deflates with this information. He goes, "Yup, because of this now, fuck it." Like it's just it's
Because of what now? I'm
because we'll say the twist.
Yeah, just say it.
That the actress that he falls in love with is actually the sister of the guy who's been trying to sleep with her for the whole book.
Yeah, well,
The bad
yeah,
guy.
the antagonist tries to sleep
Yeah.
with Isabel,
Yeah.
and they end up being brother and sister at
Yeah.
the end.
And then like once separation's out there that now they can't get married because she's in a higher class than the Baron. Oh wait, this guy doesn't want to sleep with his sister anymore because they're siblings. Oh, and that's right. Then there's the almost death, and you didn't know that you were almost killed my brother, but now you can never marry me because of that, even though you didn't know that. Like nothing makes sense of why anyone has to do anything based on actual emotional wants and needs or basic logic.
No, based on that, it's not, but I think it could have been possibly, like, the time and the place.
I think like
But I don't know.
it was just so hard to understand because you had a villain who was so obsessive about this.
Mm-hmm.
To have him suddenly not be at the point when he really should the most, but it's because of like, oh, this puzzle fit together. I'm going to erase all any emotion I have about anything that's happened in the story at all.
Yeah.
And he becomes like buddy in a way that I thought was a trap, and it just wasn't.
Yes.
Because everyone just loves this guy so much because he's the greatest guy of all time.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the big flaws about it, is that once you find out they're brother and sister, there is like nothing.
The story's over.
Yeah, the story's over because there's nothing stopping the two heroes from getting together, but the story still goes on because it's like because of like prudence and honor and stuff like that, which sounds good, but it's just stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid.
There's another part that I just found incredibly confusing. The assassin that we admired earlier, he said something that confused me, where he said something like, "I'm gonna kill you. No one could ever parry this, but if you do, I'll teach you how it's done." And so, of course, the Baron parries it because he's the perfect person of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to know that? Why would you want to know a move that you could easily defeat?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know why this was a...
Because no one else has.
But,
But you're right. No,
Yeah.
it is that mystic thing that a lot of main characters have
yeah.
that is...
This guy didn't need to be Batman. What the hell's
Exactly.
going on here?
Yeah, it's not ideal.
But, I mean, some parts were fun. The duel is a pretty cool scene.
It is. Yeah.
That's easily the best scene for me.
It's just that he spends paragraphs describing people's clothes and the room that they're in, and it's just not necessary. And
Isabella stops being a character halfway through and just becomes contrived.
yeah, and he describes her almost every time as dainty, coquettish, or delicate, perfect.
Oh, no, yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. This is like
But
twice the length of our longest book we've read, too.
basically, yeah, word count wise.
Yeah.
So
But it seems like you still have some admiration for this book, though. It's like
I do.
It's crazy.
I do have some admiration for this book, and I think it's just almost kind of just because it's so long. And I did find myself enjoying the language of it, of this translation.
When he is like actually focused on an interesting thing.
Action.
Yeah, it's really quite lovely, actually.
Yeah.
Or talking about the theater troupe and how they're working and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it, the style.
Yeah. Here's a good, if you are interested in reading this book, here's a good way to figure out if you should, is just pick it up at the library or the bookstore, read the first sentence, and if you don't throw up, you're good.
It's like 5 lines long.
It's disgusting. It's the worst beginning sentence. It's one of the worst I've read of any book.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
You send it to all of us.
That
It
would
was
be-
pretty bad.
Well, because also, I mean, this book is not going to be on the shelf at a bookstore. You have to find this one.
Yeah, you have to go searching.
So
for
here
it.
is the opening line to this great adventure tale.
Okay, I'll read it kind of fast because it is long. Upon the southern slope of one of those barren hills that rise abruptly here and there in the desolate expanse of the Landes in southwestern France, stood, in the reign of Louis XIII, a gentleman's residence, such as abound in Gascony, and which the country people dignify by the name of Chateau. So really, you could have just said, once in a building, or once upon a time in a chateau in France.
But he's French, though, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very French thing to do.
Is to embellish.
Yeah.
I feel like that's...
Especially back. Didn't you say it was
No,
kind of the same
whole
with
time.
Jules Verne?
Well,
Like
yeah,
a lot
no,
of
I did get a lot of similarities between this
Yeah,
and
Verne,
10,000
because
Leagues.
we reviewed 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea
20,000 Leagues.
way back in the first 10 episodes, I think, up there. That one, but it was always on point for that one in like scientific tangents that were all about the exploration.
Mm-hmm.
This just added texture to a story that needed texture in other directions.
Yes. I agree.
So I think it's time for henges.
I know. I'm conflicted because, yeah, you get it. So I'll say, I gotta say, it's a 3.2.
2.2.
Yeah. That's a good average.
I think
I'm
so.
happy with that average.
All right, that is. How do you say it? I read it out loud a billion times, but never actually said it. Captain Froscus?
Yeah, well, it's
Fracas.
spelled like Fracas, like Fracas. It's spelled with another S and an E. And
That's his acting pseudonym.
it's his acting pseudonym, but it's not actually Fracas, because he uses the word Fracas later. Am I saying that right?
Fracasse.
Fracas. I think that's how you
Fracas.
say his name. Yeah.
Since it has
Yeah.
since it has two S's and the E at the end, you have to linger on the S a little.
Fracas. But when you're saying
The word
like,
I always say it as fracas, but I could easily be wrong. Mostly, I've read that word.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I've heard the Brits pronounce it fracas.
So what we've learned is that you can pronounce this word however you damn well please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay with that.
All right, so check out that book. It'll only take you about a month.
Oh boy.
But luckily we did it in a week.
Good
Good for us.
I know. I spent so much time reading this.
Yep.
Ugh.
This book is so popular that in Chicago, one of the biggest cities in the world, with over 100 locations for its libraries, there's one copy of it.
Jesus.
Let me see that book.
Peter's gonna start.
What year did this edition come out? This is a
don't know.
fairly aged book.
It is
All right.
aged indeed.
Well, Pedro looks at that. We're gonna start our TV segment, which
yeah.
is Friday Night Lights.
Give all of us gathered here tonight the strength to remember that life is so very fragile. We are all vulnerable, and we will all, at some point in our lives, fall. We will all fall. We must carry this in our hearts, that what we have is special, that it can be taken from us, and that when it is taken from us, we will be tested. We will be tested to our very souls. We will now all be tested. It is these times, it is this pain that allows us to look inside ourselves.
Friday Night Lights is a television show that ran on NBC and then DirecTV for a couple seasons. It started in 2006. It went to 2011 with 5 seasons. It is based off the nonfiction book by H.G. Bensinger, which is fantastic, and also off the 2004 film starring Billy Bob Thornton, which is solid. This show, of all the Friday Night Lights things, is far and away my favorite. It is a show that I had already seen every episode before it was assigned. It was created by Jason Katims, helped developed by Peter Berg, who directed the 2004 film. It is about a fictional city in Texas called Dillon, and it's about the coach of the high school football team and all the players and parents and everyone in this town, of this small Texas town, who it's centered around football obsession, and that is definitely a major part of the show. But the show is also about everything. It's kind of one of those lovely, brilliant, beautiful shows that is about the difficulties and struggles of life and love and marriage and relationships and our dreams and our hopes and what we try to do to become better people. The Coach Taylor in this, played by Kyle Chandler, who won the Emmy in this last season. He was one of the many who beat John Hamm. It's the best coaching fiction. I mean, it's the coach you want all the time, and to see him be, he's not depicted as a perfect person. He's depicted as a really, really good person, and his marriage with, I keep calling her Mrs. Coach. Mrs. Taylor is probably the better thing to put it, but I like calling her Mrs. Coach because she ends up being just as much of a coach to the kids as well in the community. She becomes more and more involved in the school system and practically becoming principal at one point. But who cares, because it means she gets to have more personal interactions. This show's amazing. This show is absolutely amazing. Who's seen it?
Adam.
Sarah.
Pedro's seen the pilot.
Yep.
Lee, did you see any of it?
Nah, I got bored.
Man.
So,
This show.
How much of it did you see, Lee?
I saw the Wikipedia page.
Oh man. So so I actually kind of want to be an ambassador for this show. I hate sports, and I hate football more than I hate any other sport. It is not my thing. I don't like it.
no, I just beat her in fantasy football this weekend.
Yeah, fuck you.
So
No one likes your
there's
face.
a
Am I still
connection.
undefeated?
No one likes any of your fucking faces. Anyway, I actually first watched Friday Night Lights before I even understood what the basic rules of football were. I mean, I literally did not know what a quarterback did. I still sort of know, not really know.
He deflates balls.
Obviously, like Tom Brady. But I started watching the show because someone said, actually, this is a really good, emotionally deep show about family and sort of what it means to be an American these days. And I decided to give it a shot. And man, this show. So I watched the first 3 seasons, and then half the 4th season. And I went back to it this week, and I was like, why did I stop watching this? And then I watched an episode, and I was like, oh my god, right. It was because of the feelings. This show, the acting on it, the soundtrack does a huge part of it.
It's by Explosions in the Sky, primarily.
The sort of fundamental drama created by a sports game, but also all of the interpersonal drama that goes on, all of the sort of the way that you feel the pressure on the players in the town because of what a big deal it is. This show gets to me. This is the show I watch when I want to just cry like a baby. Just ugly cry, bawl while I watch it. And I do not like football. And I do not like Texas at all. I will go on record there. But Jesus Christ, this is probably one of the best shows in terms of invoking emotion that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Jason Tatum, the guy who ran this show, he went on to make Parenthood, which we reviewed many episodes back, which I'm still watching.
Which is another, like, knife in the heart kind of show in terms of the feelings.
And I like Parenthood quite a bit. This show's way better than Parenthood.
Yeah.
Probably because it gets to do a lot more, I think, because of its style. It's the whole thing is handheld camera. It has a very kind of more relaxed acting style. It's not about hitting your mark exactly. You can kind of there's clearly some improvising going on alongside the really well written dialogue. It just feels like you're watching a documentary of a town more than anything else, and that gets to pay off so well because you get to have characters like Saracen. He begins as this guy who gets, he's, I can't remember if he's a freshman or sophomore in season 1, but he has to play in the first string very unexpectedly. And in his town, football is everything. The crowd is packed with people who are mostly not parents. They're people who are obsessed about this, and who the coach can't go anywhere in the town without people asking about the lineup and what they're planning for this week against so-and-so. And see the pressure on him, but I love that guy's performance so much. Zach Guilford, I think his name is?
Yeah.
The guy says so much by, like, barely opening his mouth and talking. The guy is, like, clearly afraid to talk to the coach all the time. And they get to have one of my favorite just interactions of any two characters in fiction, because Coach and Saracen is kind of the brilliant way of kind of mentoring somebody, but also he has a crush on Coach's daughter. So there's also delightful animosity towards the two of them, which just makes for the best scenes of Coach messing with him.
Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff.
And also the character my brother most supposed to be in real life, Tim Riggins.
Which is horrifying, because Tim Riggins is the bad... I had forgotten how much he's the bad guy in the first season. Like, Tim is not the good guy. Like, Tim is... And he's not just the fuck-up. He's like the... Yeah, he's not a good person.
He's a bad influence.
He's a bad influence, yeah, it's true.
Is he the one that got out of the trailer in the pilot?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the lawn of the school?
Yes.
Okay.
Tim Riggins is played by Taylor Kitsch, who had an unfortunately really unsuccessful movie career with John Carter and Battleship Bombing in the same summer.
Oh, yeah.
Which is too bad because he's really good, but I don't think he's really good at, like, blockbusters. He's good at improvised dramas.
Yeah.
Where he gets to drink every scene. I mean, you also got, how do you pronounce his name? Andrea Pilecki, who people have seen she died in the Supernatural pilot. She's in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's fantastic as Tara. You have Landry, played by Jesse Plemons, who is getting bigger and bigger these days. He was in Breaking Bad for the last couple seasons.
Okay, so I do have to say, because we've just mentioned Landry.
We gotta mention this.
Friday Night Lights is not a perfect show. Like, in some ways, I mean, you said it's way better than Parenthood. And it is. I mean, at its best, its heights are just phenomenally higher. At the same time, I think, due to the fact that it's a couple years before Parenthood, much more under network influence. Well, you know what? I'd like to blame it on that, but maybe Jason Katims just, like, took some speed. The beginning of the second season, it's the second season, right?
I would argue that the entire second season is bad.
And that, like, in a really bizarre way. Like, they somehow decide... here's what I think actually happened. It would have been what year? Like...
2007.
2007? Okay.
The writer's strike actually thankfully killed off the last
Here's what's going on. Friday Night Lights got the note that the OC was really popular, and that it should be like the OC, and have some real drama, quote-unquote. So it creates some, quote-unquote, real drama, which is then never resolved. And I don't know.
Oh, wait, no. His thing is resolved.
Well, I mean, Okay.
It is resolved plot-wise, and then never brought
And
up
then
again
never
emotionally.
talked about
ever again.
emotionally again.
But also that season had...
Let me just say, his thing, quote-unquote, involves a dead body. Like, the idea that this is not important is insane. So, Friday Night Lights is not... it's not a perfect show.
I would actually say it's perfect aside from that season.
Okay, but it's a 5-season show, and that's a whole season.
This is what... It's kind of... That's how good this show is. I'm going to give this a really high hinge rating. I would call this one of the best shows in this kind of golden age of TV. It has 13 episodes where the cast is still perfect. Just almost every plot line is just weirdly bad.
It's not like there's no good stuff in the second season. It's just there's just a lot of really bad stuff.
Buddy Garrity adopts a kid.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! So much weird shit happens in that season.
Julie has a crush on the Swede.
Oh, I forgot about the Swede too.
There's a tornado.
See, I watched the first season and the third season a number of times in sort of restarting the show. I think I've probably only seen the second season once because,
Season 3 is an incredible redemption season.
Oh my god.
And then seasons 4 and 5 are shorter seasons, I think are even better, and they deal with even more really important topics that they just kind of weren't able to do as well. And to really kind of expand the story in a very, very smart way because they refuse to rest on their laurels.
Yeah.
And the series finale is one of my all-time favorite series finales. And
I still haven't gotten there yet, and I am very excited.
It is so beautiful in how the characters respect each other so much and what they do with the story. This is a show that earns its story moments so well. And season 1 is such an impressive season because the plot actually happens rather quickly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If something comes up, it will be kind of like resolved in 3 episodes because nothing's coming up. And they're dealing with like big issues, like big things about not only high school life, but what is high school life for athletes because there's some things about scouting going on here. And people kind of manipulating people's futures and also very hot button topics. I believe abortion is in season 1.
Yep.
It's really impressively handled.
Yeah, this show has the ability to create the pilot is masterful. It's probably one of the few shows in TV that I will say, I'm not going to spoil the pilot for you. If you don't know what happens in the pilot, go watch it. Because the twist of the pilot is so devastating that it's worth the watch.
And it's impressive even because if you read the book like I did before the show came out, the twist happens to someone else than it did in real life.
Oh, interesting.
So I was very cocky watching the pilot going, I get the foreshadowing, and I didn't.
You were wrong.
I was very much thrown for a loop.
But the amount of just I watched the pilot this morning again because I was like, oh, I should remember what this is like. And it is. It's a sucker punch. But all of this, my ugly crying and my emotion. What's amazing about the show is that it isn't cheap. Sometimes when I really want to ugly cry, I watch HBO documentaries about that beauty pageant they had for girls with disabilities, which is a beautiful thing that makes me ugly cry. But it's kind of like it's kind of a cheap shot, right? Friday Night Lights is not. The emotional notes it hits are really human. They're about who we are as people. They're about complication and just how hard it... And they're also about something that I really enjoy when a show takes seriously, which is just how fucking hard it is to be 18 years old. High school sucks, and the transition between high school and college is the worst in important ways and also the best, and this show just nails that.
Adam, you want to talk a little bit? Because I could ramble for too long.
Yeah, seriously.
I know, yeah, I could as well. It's just so delightful. And I think one of the really amazing things is that, like high school, from a coach's perspective, you have a rotating cast of characters, but that doesn't always work in a show. In fact, it rarely works.
Yeah.
But in Friday Night Lights, it's just works so well. It's like Michael B. Jordan becomes the center, kind of a huge character in season 4.
Yeah.
Or 3.
4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah. So I think that's
He's great on the show.
really commendable. He's so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying.
And they do great character exits for big characters.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of them are just perfect. I mean, they're so emotionally well done.
Yeah. Landry, they didn't do so well. He just kind of fizzles out.
Oh yeah, his exit is. Although you know what, he does get one little bit of something. Yeah, his exit is because they did too many like big exits in a row. His was kind of small in comparison.
Yeah.
But there is actually an amazing video that was made a couple years ago when Parenthood was still on that officially tied the universe together of Parenthood and Friday Night Lights, where Landry's band, Cruise Victorious, played at the Parenthood
So much fun.
At the
recording studio.
It's really fun.
So if you want to know the epilogue to what he was up to in the couple years after Friday Night Lights, it's adorable, and you go, oh, of course.
No, actually, I will say, I love Landry. I think he's an amazing character.
He's funny.
I think it must be said that the show consistently fails him, I think, in plot lines.
There's a plotline I love of him. I forget what season this is. I watched a lot of them in a row. When he's actually on the team, and like he's a kicker.
I say great,
and he's just not very good.
Season 4.
It's just kind of amazing to have so many characters who like you're following the best players. You're following the star quarterback. You're following the amazing receiver. Landry's just the nice guy who's friends with Saracen. So it's kind of like his entry point to all these plot lines. But Jesse Plemons' acting delivery is so perfect with this show that he can do so many great asides in a documentary style that they just kind of put him more on the team just to give him more of the show. And yeah, it's nice to have him not be a major character. Also, the coach, I think, never gets his name right.
Yeah.
The coach gets his name. Coach is, a brilliantly astute guy who understands problems of these kids and knows how to reach them in a very humanistic and not condescending way. Except for Landry, whose name he's never gotten right the entire series.
Never. He does not give a fuck. Like, sorry. Like, I don't even think he'd feel bad if he knew.
Oh, I love that so much.
There's so much to say about this show. It's so important.
I think my favorite part of the show, though, is the marriage between Coach and Mrs. Coach.
Yes.
Which I think is the best depicted marriage in television.
Because I mean, I know you keep calling her Mrs. Coach, but actually in the third, fourth, and fifth season, she also very much develops into like her own
absolutely
professional
I just
person.
like calling her a coach as well. Just not an athlete coach.
I feel like then that's Mrs. Coach implies something different, but I get your point. I mean, they actually have this like beautifully like balanced, functional marriage. That is, yeah. I mean, it's hashtag relationship goals if ever there was any.
Wait till you get season 5.
Oh no!
No, I'm saying I think season 5 is the best season.
Oh, but they can't break up. Ah! Oh man, feelings.
I have a question.
Let's hear it.
So, Coach goes in the morning, and then he does practice after school. Mm-hmm. What does he do between then?
I think he has an office.
He has an office. No, he has an office, and he just like watches tapes. Like he watches game tapes all day.
6 hours a day.
That is the implication.
I think he might like host gym barely. Like
I would have loved that to be a deleted scene where Coach has to just do like PE for the lame kids who aren't on the football team. I would watch the hell out of that.
You never see him during the day except when he has to.
Yeah, no. The most you ever see him is watching. He watches game videos. Like that's like his thing. He like sits in his crappy office and watches game videos.
Yeah, high school coaches are hired to be high school coaches, and they have a very. They don't have to do much during the actual school day. They're there to prep for everything else.
All right.
So, like, in the high school I most currently was at, the guy was a very
sure
good
you
coach.
had no other job. Like most other coaches, other coaches were also
gym teachers.
Yeah.
He had a singular title and role, which was head high school coach.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what's going on here.
Person at our school,
especially in a school that, because also gets into a lot of school politics.
Yeah.
Of, how do you finance a school?
Booster clubs.
And also, like, recognizing that this pays for the education, but also the education is why we're doing this?
Maybe.
And the conflict for so much of that is throughout the whole series. Yeah, so...
It's perfect and wonderful.
Yeah.
We should probably henge it.
Yeah, because this episode's gone on long, because lots of thoughts. I'm going to give this a 4.8. It only goes down 0.2 for an entirely bad season.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was actually only going to dock at 0.1 for that, but actually, I do think that there are occasional weaknesses throughout, although mostly it's wonderful, so I'm going to go with a 4.75.
I'm gonna say 4.4.
Pedro liked the pilot.
I did like the pilot.
Oh, no, you need more than that, though.
Yeah.
I don't really remember what happened because it was a long time ago.
But seriously, Lee, give it a shot.
I don't like shows that emotionally manipulate me.
Okay, no, this does not emotionally manipulate you.
It's just emotional.
It's
feel
just
like
emotional.
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Like
I
crying.
said, this
Watch
is
the
not the HBO documentary about the beauty pageant for disabled girls, which I highly recommend if you want to ugly cry. This is about like humanity and being 18, and it will mostly make you cry, like the same reason that Toy Story 3 makes you cry, because it takes you back to a part of your life.
Yeah, I kind of hate
hard.
Toy Story 3.
Oh man, you're a bad person. Well, fine then.
Oh my god, we just added an hour to this podcast.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to you anymore.
Oh,
hon.
no.
I don't even know what to say.
I would actually recommend this show if people like Orange is the New Black.
Fair. Those are the two. Okay, those are the two shows that I cannot listen to the theme songs when I watch them, because just the theme songs make me so emotional that it's uncomfortable. So in that way, I would agree with you.
When I listen to the theme song to Orange is the New Black, I think about salami.
That's a weird choice. Talk
No,
more.
because I watched all of the first season, and I think all of the second season, in my house, eating nothing but salami and sleeping on the couch.
Oh no.
Pedro
That's
has some weird parts of his life.
I mean, we all have, but that's...
It's,
I like that, but like now you just like associate
It's like a 2 or 3.
that Regina Spektor song with salami.
well, not just salami, the feeling of being at home, eating nothing but
Like
salami.
lonely
living on the
salaminess.
couch. Very lonely
Really
salaminess.
lonely salami.
I definitely, yeah, I felt for them.
Oh,
On the
as
show.
of right now, the entire series of Friday Night Lights is on Netflix and stuff.
Yeah, it friggin' is. You should
Huh.
watch it. Oh my god, feelings. Oh,
Intern.
it's the intern.
Hey, what's up?
Intern, do you
what
watch
else is
Friday
happening
Night
up
Lights?
there?
2. Your locations are discovered.
They found us.
Oh, good.
Your next number is 362.
362, huh?
Well, yeah.
2 and 3 make 6.
I mean, guys, we record in Chicago, and Lee is in Indiana. Like, it's not actually really hidden.
Yeah, Bethany cursed me to Central Indiana. Like,
Oof, yeah, it's rough.
I still think it's bad.
Yeah, we're fine. So 362, is that what
It's
he
cause
said?
for slight concern. But
It's
I mean, it's not like we're going to
fine.
be able to do anything about
Right.
it, so we may as well just sit and see.
And we
Sit,
can't
wait, and
die.
see.
They'll expect us to travel.
Exactly.
Well, they cursed us so they could kill us.
This
but that's
is the
kind
last-
of the goal
the-
anyway, so
the
no matter
closer-
what.
The
we're
closer we are
okay.
to danger, the farther we are from home.
Didn't they curse us to not kill us?
Eh, shush. What's the movie?
Let me see here.
He needs a book for that.
Yeah, get it. The movie is, kind of a movie. It is the short film Le Jetée.
La Jetée.
La Jetée.
Is it not just La Jette?
No,
that's
it's
CT.
got
I just had-
an accent to go in it.
It is.
Aha,
Yeah.
You monster! Why would
Yeah,
you
you-
leave that off?
I don't know. Why would I leave it off the book that I'm holding in my hand?
La Jetée? Jetée?
Jetée. But I mean, I don't know that it's like
Is it
that.
Jetée?
Jetée.
These are all
Or-
questions for next week, but
Yeah.
it's a half-hour short film that is
Short.
remade to a film you've probably seen, but I won't say what it is.
So
till you
this
see it.
half-hour short film counts as a film, but the other thing that you saw, which was sort of like a TV show film, wasn't a film, but was a TV show.
Correct.
Okay.
Sure, we'll go with it.
I think it's played in theaters. So
The food apparently is quail eggs.
Oh. I
Yeah.
like quail eggs. I think.
I mean, I don't
the
know.
album is music from the Penguin Cafe by the Penguin Cafe Orchestra.
Ooh.
Imagine that.
Not actual penguins.
I'm out.
The song is Reelin' in the Years by Steely Dan.
Oh, hell yeah. Love that song.
I have no idea.
It's a great song.
We'll find out.
The children's book is Bridget and the Moose Brothers
Oh, that sounds cute.
by Pija Lindenbaum.
And the TV show, if you want to be further confused on what is the TV show and what is the movie, the TV show this week is Das Boot.
That's a movie.
The movie?
What?
Das Boot.
What?
The movie?
The movie is a 2.5 hour to 3 hour movie. This is all 5.5 hours
Oh,
of
Okay.
submarine Das Bootiness.
Oh, good.
I
I've only seen the theatrical version, so I'm excited to watch the uncut miniseries. And we'll all do that next week. Until then, you can leave a comment about this episode. Because I hear your thoughts about Nirvana and Friday Night Lights and obscure French novels. You can do that at theartimmortal.com. You can post on Twitter at @theimmortalspod, where I'll post a picture of the rice feed estate and do other links.
Can I sing to anyone today?
Not this week.
No one loves us.
Because people need to write a review on iTunes or tell your friends to write a review on iTunes. More people can find this weird show we do. And you can also email us at theimmortals@theartimmortal.com. And while you're at the website, check out my other podcast called Let's Take 5. Yesterday we wrapped up Steven Spielberg and talked about his whole legacy. And we announced our new 5 subject, which is Werner Herzog. So we're going to watch 5 Werner Herzog films. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
But we're not starting it this week. Tomorrow's episode, just because of scheduling reasons, it's a bonus episode where it's actually our longest episode, where we discussed the Let's Take 5 horror films. 5 movies that kind of define the genre that we love.
It's appropriate.
Yeah.
Seems great.
So check that out tomorrow. Check out the other one that came out yesterday. Check out this podcast you're actually getting the end of.
Yep.
And that's it. That has to be it. This is a lot of information. Yeah. Thank you for listening, everybody. You guys are awesome for doing this, and thank you. My name is Austin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
Catch you next week, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See you later, alligator.
The beauty of rigs was guys love them.
Yeah.
You know, and so they want to get drunk with riggins. If I go to a bar just for a drink or a beer, it's like, and it's all flattering, but it is like, guys, I'm not 18 with an alcohol problem, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's weird when guys are like, hey, my girl wants to take you home.
You're
and
the
I'm
one
like,
on her
and
list.
she's right there, and I'm like, this is weird.
Like,
so I mean,
thank
yeah,
you,
right,
but...
yeah, okay, no,
yeah,
but no, it's
you don't anticipate that when you get a gig. That doesn't
yeah,
come with it.
no, that's
in the
not one of the
contract.
checklists
No.
too. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get laid a lot. But it is like I love that playing that guy.